Welcome back to the deep dive. Usually when we sit down here, we're tackling these massive complex topics, right? Like geopolitics or tech revolution.
Oh, yeah, or the entire history of civilization.
Exactly. But today we're doing something completely different. We are zooming in, like way, way in.
We are putting things under the microscope today.
We really are. We're looking at three tiny words, just three syllables. Can, could, can, and may.
Yeah.
Huh. And I know what you're thinking. You're sitting there maybe driving to work or doing the dishes thinking, come on, I learned these my very first week of English class.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what can means.
But do you, though? I mean, that is the real question, because the source material we are unpacking today suggests that for a lot of people, even folks who've been speaking English for years, these words are actually kind of a minefield.
A minefield is exactly right. We tend to treat them like synonyms, just swapping them out whenever we feel like it.
Which is dangerous.
It really is.
Yeah.
Because according to the research we have in front of us, that is a recipe for social disaster. These aren't just grammar rules, they are social signals.
That is the perfect way to frame it. I mean, think of this deep dive not as a grammar lesson, but as a field guide to social hierarchy. We're going to decode the nuance between ability, permission, and possibility.
Right. And our mission here is pretty specific. We want to take the learner, and by that I mean you, the listener, from that basic survival English where you're just pointing and hoping for the best to real intermediate mastery.
Yeah, we want you to stop guessing. We want you to start knowing exactly why you're choosing one word over the other.
Because if you mix these up, you don't just make a syntax error. You might accidentally sound dismissive to your boss or weirdly formal to your best friend.
It is all about tone.
So let's dive right into the source material. It breaks this down beautifully by function. And it starts with the most foundational concept, the one we're all probably the most comfortable with, which is ability.
Right. This is the bedrock. The source is very clear here. When you are talking about the capability to do something, whether it's a physical skill or a mental skill, your primary tool is can.
And the example they give is the classic one, I can swim very well.
It's simple, it's direct, and it's binary. You either possess the skill or you don't.
I can swim. I can speak French.
Exactly. It refers to a current reality. It's a very confident word.
It really is. It feels solid.
Yeah.
But this is where the source introduces the first little twist. Because obviously we don't just live in the present. What happens when we need to talk about abilities we used to have?
That is where we have to hop in the time machine. The source explicitly connects could to can right here. It defines could as the past form of can.
The time machine. I like that a lot. So if I can swim is happening right now today.
Then I could swim places that ability firmly in the past. The exact example in the text is when I was young, I could run fast.
Okay, let's unpack that timeline a bit. I could run fast.
It establishes a historical fact. It tells the listener, hey, we are no longer in the present moment. And this is actually a really common trap for intermediate learners.
So for sure, you hear people try to force can into the past tense all the time.
Right. They'll say things like, I can run fast when I was a child.
And that just crashes the sentence completely.
It does. It creates this weird cognitive dissonance. The listener hears can and thinks now, but then they hear when I was a child and think then. Could solves that problem instantly.
It signals this is a capability that existed in a specific past moment.
Exactly.
So rule number one from our deep dive, can is for present ability, could is for past ability. That seems simple enough.
It is simple. And if we stop there, English would be an incredibly easy language.
If only.
Right. But we are just getting started. The real trouble, and frankly the main reason we're doing this deep dive today, is what happens when we move away from ability and step into the battlefield of permission.
The permission battle. This is where the sweat starts to bead on the forehead. You're at a dinner party or in a classroom or starting a new job. You need to do something. Do you use can? Do you use may?
This is the core comparison you need to understand. The source material draws a hard line here based on one specific thing, which is formality.
I remember this from school, actually. If I asked my teacher, can I go to the bathroom, she would always give me that look. You know the look.
Oh, over the glasses, right?
Exactly. And she'd say, I don't know, can you?
The classic teacher rebuke. And technically speaking, she was right. You were asking about your physical ability, like, do I have the biological capacity to use the restroom?
Right, when I obviously meant to ask for permission.
But in the real world, people use can for permission all the time.
I hear it literally every day.
You do. And the source completely acknowledges that. It categorizes can as the word for informal permission.
Informal being the operative word there. The example they give is, you can borrow my book.
Think about the context of that sentence. You can borrow my book. Who says that to whom?
A friend. A peer. Maybe a sibling.
Exactly. It's horizontal. There is no hierarchy there. If I say you can borrow my book, I am treating you as an equal.
It's relaxed.
Very relaxed. It implies that the permission is almost a given. Yeah, sure, you can grab that. No big deal.
It's the casual Friday of modal verbs. Jeans and a t-shirt.
That is a perfect analogy. But then we have may.
May. The source puts this strictly in the formal permission bucket.
May is the suit and tie. The source example is, you may enter the room now.
You may enter the room now. Wow, that barely even sounds like a conversation. Sounds like a command from a king.
Or a judge.
Yeah.
Or a very strict doctor. It signals authority with a capital A.
So when you use may to grant permission, you're emphasizing that you have the power to grant it.
Yes, and the other person is subject to your decision.
So it creates distance.
Huge distance. It creates a vertical hierarchy.
This is why it feels so weird when you use the wrong one. Like if I'm hanging out with my buddy watching a game and I say, may I have a potato chip? I sound insane.
You sound like you're mocking him. You sound sarcastic because you are using high formality language in a low formality setting.
But let's flip it. If I'm in a high-stakes meeting with the CEO of a massive company and I just barge in and say, can I come in?
You sound presumptuous. You sound like you haven't read the room at all. You're treating the CEO like your pizza buddy.
So for the learner listening right now, this isn't just about memorizing grammar rules. It's about reading the social temperature of the room.
Precisely. You have to diagnose the situation before you open your mouth. Is this a peer? Use can. Is this a superior or a formal setting or a stranger you want to impress? Use may.
Let's put this into practice, actually. The source material helps us understand these differences, but let's act out a scenario to really make it stick. I'm going to do a little role play. We need to choose between can and may based on the exact situation.
I love it. I'm ready. Put me in the hot seat.
Okay, scenario A. You are asking your roommate, who is your best friend, if you can eat their leftover pizza. Go.
Okay, roommate. Casual setting, low stakes. I would say, can I eat this pizza? Or even just, can I have this?
Right, can. It's easy. You're friends. It is informal permission. Now, scenario B. You are a junior employee. You are knocking on the door of the CEO of a massive corporation. You need to ask to come in to sign a contract. Go.
Okay, the stakes are high. The hierarchy is extremely clear. I would knock and say, may I come in?
May I come in?
It signals respect immediately. It acknowledges that the other person has the power to say yes or no. It creates that professional distance that is entirely appropriate for that setting.
That is a really great distinction.
Yeah.
Can feels like you are announcing your intention. May feels like you are formally submitting a request.
That is the perfect way to put it. And grasping that distinction is really what separates a basic speaker from an intermediate or advanced one.
Okay, so we have covered ability and we have covered the permission battle. But the source throws us a curveball here. We have to talk about possibility.
Yes, because may isn't just about permission. The source highlights another key function, which is expressing possibility or probability.
The example given is, it may rain tomorrow.
This is crucial because it changes the meaning of the word entirely. Here, may isn't asking for permission from the clouds.
Oh, clouds, may you please rain. Yeah, no, that doesn't work.
It expresses a chance, a likelihood. It may rain means there is a distinct possibility of rain. It's about calculating the odds.
And this is very different from saying it can rain right.
Yes, it can rain usually refers to theoretical possibility, like it can rain in the desert. It's a fact about nature. But it may rain is a prediction. It implies uncertainty about a specific upcoming event.
Got it. Now, I want to circle back to could for a second. We said earlier that could is the past tense of can, the time machine. But surely that's not all it is. Because I hear people use could all the time in the present tense.
You are spot on. And this is where it gets really nuanced. This is actually my favorite part of English grammar. The source defines could as being used for hypothetical situations and polite requests.
And the example is, could you help me with this problem?
Now look at that sentence. Could you help me? Is that in the past?
No, definitely not. I am asking for help right now in the present.
Exactly. But we use the past form could. Why? Because in English, grammar, shifting to the past form creates distance. And distance equals politeness.
Whoa, wait. Let's unpack that. Distance equals politeness.
Think about it. Can you help me is very direct. It's right in your face. It demands a yes or no answer about your ability.
Right.
But could you help me softens it. It turns the demand into a hypothetical. It's almost like asking if you were able to, would it be possible for you to help? It takes all the pressure off the other person.
That is fascinating. So could is basically the polite cousin of can.
In the context of requests, absolutely. If can is direct and functional, like can you help, then could is soft and diplomatic. Could you help? It is the diplomat of the modal verbs.
So we have this triangle. Can for informal ability and permission, may for formal permission and possibility, and could for past ability and polite hypothetical requests.
That is the landscape. But we need to drill down into the rules of formality specifically for writing, because spoken English is one thing, right? You have tone of voice, you have facial expressions, but writing is where these errors really stand out and bite you.
The source is pretty specific here about when to avoid using can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because can is defined in the source as informal. The expert advice and just the logical conclusion here is that you should avoid it in strictly formal writing.
So if I'm writing a cover letter for a job or an email to a client I don't know well,
Do not write, "Can I meet with you next week?" It is way too casual. It sounds like a text message you would send to your buddy.
it implies a familiarity that just hasn't been earned yet.
Exactly.
It looks amateurish.
It really does. It signals to the reader that you don't fully understand professional norms.
So what is the better choice in writing?
If you are asking for permission or an appointment in a formal context, the source points us straight toward may. May we meet is the gold standard.
Or I guess you could use our diplomat, the polite could.
Yes, could we meet is also very acceptable. But may creates the absolute best impression of respect.
I want to ask you for a golden rule here. We know English have a lot of exceptions, but if you are an intermediate learner and you're nervous, you're standing in front of that judge or that boss or your partner's scary father, what does a native speaker do?
If we look at the source's clear distinction that may is formal, the golden rule is this. When in doubt, if respect is your goal, choose may.
Just default to may.
A native speaker will almost always choose may over can when they need to show respect, maintain professional distance, or when the setting is purely official.
Like a courtroom.
A courtroom, a formal ceremony, a serious business negotiation. If you stand up and say, "Can I speak?" you sound like a child asking to leave the dinner table. If you say, "May I speak?" you sound like a thoughtful participant in the proceedings.
That is a really powerful distinction. It is amazing how one single word changes your entire persona.
It really does. It completely shifts the power dynamic. By using may, you are signaling to everyone, I understand the rules of this game and I am playing by them.
It's the difference between being fluent, just getting the words out, and being truly articulate.
Exactly. It's about refining your instrument.
Okay, we have covered a massive amount of ground here.
Uh-huh.
I want to do a rapid fire recap for everyone listening. I'm going to say the word and you give me the key takeaways from the source, just the bullet points.
Okay?
Ready?
I was born ready.
Word number 1, can.
Informal. And ability. I can swim. You can borrow my book, use it with friends and peers.
Word number 2, could.
Polite, hypothetical, and past ability. When I was young, I could run. Could you help me? Use it to be diplomatic.
Word number 3, may.
Formal, possibility, and permission. It may rain. You may enter. Use it with bosses, authorities, and strangers you really want to impress.
Perfect. That is the cheat sheet right there. I feel like I need to tattoo that on my arm.
It would be a very helpful tattoo, honestly. And if you keep those 3 buckets clear in your mind, you are going to navigate 99% of English conversations with total confidence.
So what does this all mean for you, our listeners?
Uh-huh.
Why should you care about swapping can for could or may?
It connects right back to that intermediate learner goal we talked about at the beginning. Using the right word changes how people perceive your politeness and, frankly, your intelligence.
It's deeper than grammar.
Way deeper. When you use may correctly in a formal setting, you signal that you understand the culture, not just the vocabulary. You signal that you respect the person you are talking to.
It's soft skills.
It is the ultimate soft skill. It's about relationship building. Think about it. If I say, open the window versus can you open the window versus could you open the window, I am conveying the exact same basic information. I want air,
Right.
but I am building 3 completely different relationships with the person I'm talking to.
Because one is a command, one is a question, and one is a courtesy.
Exactly.
I want to leave everyone with a final thought to mull over. We talked about how good is the past tense of can. I could run when I was young. But then we use it to be polite right now in the present. Could you help me?
It is a strange quirk of the language.
It really is. It suggests that in English, the essence of politeness is actually distancing yourself from reality. We pretend something is hypothetical, like could you just to be nice. It's almost like we are allergic to being direct.
That is a very deep observation. Politeness in English is so often about softening the blow of reality. It's about not being in the way.
So something to think about the next time you ask someone for a favor. Are you asking if they can do it physically? Or are you asking if they can do it socially? Listen for those subtle differences in your next English conversation.
Absolutely. Start listening and you will hear these patterns everywhere. It's like a secret code you finally cracked.
Thanks for diving in with us. Go out there and practice your permission.
Goodbye.
We'll see you in the next one.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. See you next time.